If you're a first-time student, you might be a little bit concerned or worried about the risk of what happened to the students last year who were on campus during the COVID-19 pandemic. Then you've probably also heard about some of the lawsuits towards different schools who didn't refund money and other financial concerns of not being compensated for the difference between physical on-campus learning versus remote learning. Well, you're not alone in your fears and your concerns of this, but there are a few things you just want to take a look at to get an understanding of what the risks are to you and what could potentially happen. You definitely want to take a look at your school's refund policy. The refund policy is strictly for the cost that you paid to the school. You want to keep that in mind. If you're living off campus and you're paying your own rent, that's a different situation entirely. You want to take the time to ask financial aid or maybe even your billing office to get an understanding of how refunds will occur if something similar to last year happens again. Would there be a refund on your housing for any amount of time that you were not able or allowed to live on campus? And then you want to ask your school if there would be any sort of refund opportunity if the classes go from physical on campus to remote learning at any point in the semester. Every school will have their own refund policy and their own terms and conditions along with that. So you want to take a look to see how that works. After you've completed a certain amount of your program, generally based on specific dates or even weeks depending on how your program is set up, you're only eligible for a certain percentage of the amount you pay directly to the school. Now that has nothing to do with financial aid or anything like that. That's strictly the refund policy you have with your school. If you are one of those students who's a little bit on the fence or a little bit concerned with what happened last year, or you don't want a repeat of what happened last year, have that conversation with your school and financial aid. That may help guide the decision you want to make. Beyond refunds, you want to take a look at what happens if you're unable to continue your program. Get an idea of what your options are. If you've just started your program, you may be able to consider just dropping your classes and waiting again until the next term available to you. School COVID-19 policies may be significantly different than they were last year. Last year, even though schools may have had emergency protocols and policies already in place, several new policies and requirements have come out of the COVID-19 pandemic. You have to keep in mind that school policies are school policies, so it might factor in your decisions for this upcoming year. Some schools may require you to be vaccinated in order to attend in person. You'd have to talk to them about any sort of exceptions or any sort of considerations for those who may not be able to receive a vaccination. If you choose or you're unable to be vaccinated, you have to ask the school what your options are now. Chances are many schools who had to go 100% remote have a way to handle that this year. And you might see more opportunities for hybrid learning, which could be some in person and some online, or 100% remote classes. So you want to take a look to understand how you can attend that school if you're unable to meet the requirements of their new policy. If you found these tips helpful, make sure to share our video and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on other topics that we're going to cover.